Thank you for listening to the BJJ Brick Podcast. We'll be bringing you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good times. We hope to flatten your Jiu-Jitsu learning curve, help you get the most out of your grappling ability, and meet your goals both on and off the mat.
Welcome back, my friends, to episode 113 of the BJJ Brick Podcast. I'm Gary with my partner in crime here, Byron. How you doing today, Byron?
Gary, I'm doing great. Our partnership of criminal activities has really been paying off, buddy.
Yeah, it really has been. Neither of us have went to jail yet, so we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we both will push the yellow light on some lights.
Crosswalk.
Yeah.
Crosswalks,
And the other day I just saw Great Gary. He straight up jaywalked. Didn't do nothing about it.
We're actually not even worried about going to jail. We're looking at, hey, we can train all the time and work out as much as we want, and probably get in a few fights and see if our technique actually works.
That's the third best way to test your technique.
Yep. Free competition.
There we go.
Yep.
What do we have today, Gary?
Oh, we got a great episode today. Byron had an awesome interview with Scott Balor from BJJ Roli, and what he does is he just goes around the United States driving his big blue van and checking out jiu-jitsu gyms. I personally think that's probably the majority of our dreams, and so we get to live it talking to Scott Balor.
Yep, and definitely go to his website, and he's very active on there, and he posts on there constantly. If you're traveling around and going to all these gyms, that's what he does, and then he'll go and he'll write up a little article about what he experienced and put it on there. So we'll put a link to it in the show notes, and definitely we'll check it out and kind of just, it feels like I've been doing it, since I've interviewed him and got to know him a little bit, but it feels like you're kind of along with him on his journey, if that makes sense. Like, he's out there doing his thing, and he's sleeping in the van, and he going to new gyms all the time, and it feels like you just kind of like get to tag along a little bit with him there and experience it a little bit through him.
Yep, and how cool would that be? I think all of us probably want to do that, so we're going to live life vicariously through Scott. So stay tuned for that interview.
Yeah.
And speaking of interviews, so you don't miss any of these interviews or any of these episodes, definitely get on our email list. We have a link to it on our show notes there. Just put in your email address, and we will send you out a link every week, and that way you will never miss an episode.
If you are in your first year of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, boy, have I got something for you.
Man, I like that new intro, Byron.
A little bit more salesman-y. No, we do have an audiobook for sale called Your First Year in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu audiobook. It's just basically, I'm going to sit down with you and talk with you for about 2.5 hours about what to expect, what you're going to go through, some tips and some advice. And Chapter 3, I think, is an important chapter. It's called Benefits of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And we all have those days when you get home and you're like, this sucked. I got beat up, I'm sore, my leg's sore, my neck's sore, whatever. What am I doing? You kind of question what you're doing. And the benefits of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's so many benefits off the mat. It just reminds you that you're not just learning how to fight better. You're not just learning some cool techniques. You're getting a great exercise. That's one of the biggest problems that we have these days. It's hard to get exercise. You're having fun getting exercise, and it's rewarding. You're meeting new people from all walks of life, and you're making new friends, and the social aspect of that, and just the idea that you could engage in a form of combat and not get too terribly, injured. It's just, and I list many more benefits of Jiu-Jitsu, but it's just nice to be reminded of how many great things Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can do for you. And I think that's important to be reminded of that during your first year of training. So the audiobooks are for sale. It's on the website there. Look for it, Your First Year of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's $11.99. The money goes to support the show and helps us pay our bills here.
Yeah, and one thing Byron has talked about, different aspects, stuff that's going to help you just besides getting better at Jiu-Jitsu. Think about Byron himself. You actually became a firefighter from talking with some firefighters you trained with and picking their brains and, finding out about the job before you started. They kind of helped you get in. So, a great, just the camaraderie, the friendships you built.
Yep. And I try to reciprocate this, and any guy who's on the mat who mentions that, I try to, hey, let me know if I can help you. You want to come by the station and check it out? Like, that's a common thing in Jiu-Jitsu. Like, the friendships that are made are deep. They're not like a whole bunch of like narrow friendships. You make some really deep connections with people, and they'll be more than happy to help you off the mat usually. Speaking of one of our friends we've made, Roli Delgado was here several episodes back. I think it was in the late 60s he came on here, and he actually gave 2 quotes. And we used one of his quotes the next episode. And I'm looking back in the archives, and I have a quote that says, Roli Delgado, number 2, not used. So I'm a little surprised. I feel like I'm opening up a Christmas present, you know? It's like, I don't remember what he said at all. Like, this is going to be kind of a fun thing for us to listen to and to learn from Roli Delgado, a little bit of unaired, like kind of, you know, this one almost got lost. So here is our quote of the week. It's presented by our friend Roli Delgado.
A second quote I'd like to share because, you know, I just want to share it is one from Ayn Rand, and I have this up in my gym, and it says, it's not who's going to let us, but who's going to stop us. And I think that's an awesome quote because at the end of the day, it's up to you. You know, if you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, it's up to you. You know, there's so many resources out there. You know, you don't have any excuses. And if you want to, you know, I've got guys that want to fight in the UFC one day. And, you know, it's not who's going to hook you up and who's going to take care of you and who's going to give you the break. You know, it's who's going to stop you. And that's the mentality. So that's a really good quote I like as well.
Yeah, I think of like taking control of the situation into yourself and not looking for people to help you do it, but just getting it done. And if something's in your way, take care of that. But not looking for, well, nobody's helping me do this, or some excuse of why it's working. But go to the next barrier, pass it. Go to the next one, pass it, and then you'll accomplish what you're looking for.
I mean, that's exactly right, man. And that's how it is. You know, for the fighters, it's real simple. You just got to beat the next guy.
Yeah, and I'm actually.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah, and I was thinking when you were saying, you know, who's going to stop us, and I was actually thinking about you. You know, you were saying you came from Philadelphia to Arkansas. You had a little bit of wrestling experience. You didn't start training. Did you say 91 or 98 or?
It was 90. I think 99.
99. Okay, yeah, you moved in 98. Okay, so you didn't. It's not like you'd been wrestling your whole life or doing boxing, and here you made it to the echelon. You made it to the UFC. I mean, who's going to stop you? You did it. You know, no breaks. It was your hard work taking you there. That's awesome.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I definitely, you know, there's definitely a bit of luck in everybody's story, but you do have to work hard and be ready to take you have to be in the position to take the opportunities that come to you, you know, in life. And luckily, you know, I was in the position to take some of the opportunities that came to me. But I am still thankful that I had some of those opportunities, and I'm glad that I was able to, you know, to take advantage of them with the hard work. And, you know, I'm lucky that I loved fighting. I loved the challenge of it. I'm not made up to be a fighter. You know, if you look at the mental aspects of, if I look at the mental aspects of what I want out of my students for them to be awesome fighters, and I look at the physical aspects, you know, that would, you know, I'm definitely not the poster child for it. But, you can overcome so much of that stuff, man, if you just want to do it, you know? Like, I just really love fighting. I love the challenge of it, and I never thought I'd be the champion. I just always wanted to know, like, could I beat the next guy? And, sometimes the answer was yes, and sometimes the answer was no, but that was my whole motivation. And I just, you know, I'd win a fight, like, great, I accomplished that goal, but now, you know, am I good enough to beat the next guy? And I just kept you know, I was always just asking that question, you know, right up until I stopped fighting.
Cool. Well, that was fun. Like a little travel back in time. You know, back in the day, it was a little easier to get Gary on the interviews, and I was like, oh, Gary's on this. This is awesome. It kind of like made me smile right away.
A guest appearance.
Must have been on a weekend. It seems like anymore we do the interviews fall on weekdays, and Gary's at work. But anyway, it's not who's going to let us, but who's going to stop us. It kind of, to me, it's like you don't have to get permission for a lot of things that you want to do. Just go out and do them. And if anybody, more likely nobody will try to even stop you. But if somebody does, deal with that, you know. And, I mean, we talked about it a bit with Roli, so that was nice too. But I like the quote.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great quote. Just about everything we do, it's up to us. I mean, we got to step forward to take it. We have to have the attitude, the gumption. We just have to go get it. If we don't want it that bad, then hey, no biggie. We're just going to stay still, do nothing. But if we really do want it, it's up to us. We're the ones who have to take that chance and go into the gym. We're going to have to train. We're going to have to, you know, watch videos. We're just going to have to keep going to get better. And it's 100% up to us. We're the only person only we can stop ourselves.
Well said, Gary. I think people put a lot of limits on their lives on and off the mat. You know, that other people's perspectives of what they should be doing. You shouldn't need the permission to do something you want to really pursue. You know, you don't want to go screwing up your life too bad with things that your people have good intentions for you with. But go out there and pursue what you want to do. Look at you know, Scott. You know, BJJ Rally. Who's going to stop him? Nobody.
Yeah.
You know, who had to let him go travel around? Nobody. If one gym doesn't want him to go train, he goes to the next one. He goes train to the other one. Like,
yeah,
it's perfect example.
Somebody will want him to train. He's got a dream and he's doing it. He's living it. It's you can tell him, you know, hey, that might not be the best thing to do, but hey, that's what he wants to do. That's what counts. Yeah,
I love how this little quote kind of slipped through the cracks and then resurfaced right with this. And it's total by accident. I just saw this one I wrote down next to unused and man, that's a perfect quote for this episode.
Yeah, worked out perfect. Well, I think we should get on to the article of the week. This week we have another article from jujitsutimes.com. I know we've grabbed some from there before, but this one is an article from October 20th by Emil Fisher. Train in the gi to improve your nogi. And, you know, I hear that all the time. People saying, you know, why should I train in the gi if all I'm going to do is nogi? And, you know, vice versa. And, you just hear those questions a lot. And coming from me, who is mostly a no-gi guy, boy, I'm so happy that I started in the gi. I'm so happy that I've got, you know, 6 years with the gi on, or 7 years. I'm not sure how many years, but it gave me the foundation to, especially defensively. You take an armbar, for example. There's no way I could get in no-gi. I could just use sweat a lot of times to get out of an armbar. In gi, in gi, there's no chance. You know, I have to learn proper fundamentals. I have to learn, you know, where my hand goes, where to put the elbow, little things to do. And I just can't rely on bodily fluids.
And Gary, you do have the hard work ethic on the mat, and you get sweat going pretty good there usually. So that's you get that going on. But you're right with one of the biggest things about putting that gi on is your escapes are not going to be as easy. And that, you know, if you're kind of in the mentality that you want to, you know, just win today and beat the guy you're rolling with, that's a kind of a loss. You know, you're not going to be able to move as well, and you'll win a little bit less that day. But if you could somehow handicap yourself to make your escapes tougher, you got to do those escapes perfectly or closer to perfectly in order to get them to work. Your escapes will get better, and then when you take the gi off, escapes will seem even easier. It's like, oh, it's slippery now. I'm able to kind of move in a way that I wasn't able to with the gi on. His grips, you know, it's like, it just, another example would be that if Gary and I were to roll and I could like triple my grip strength. I'm not going to do that, but if I could in no-gi, Gary would have a big problem to deal with. You know, he wouldn't be able to break my grips very well, and I would have a lot more control over him as he tries to pass and after I pass and stuff like that. But you can increase somebody's grip strength or the function of their grip strength or their control they have with their grip, I guess would be an easy way to say that, by adding a gi. It gives your opponent more control. It also gives you control in ways that you didn't have before, but you have to really address those grips in the gi, and a lot of times without the gi, you know, it's not so big a deal.
Yeah, and going back to what Byron said, if me and him were training no-gi and he tripled his grip strength, I would just up my bodily fluid. So, I would counter it that way. A lot of people don't have that opportunity, but my nickname used to be the wet salmon.
Wow.
There's a reason for that, yeah.
Yeah, and eventually, if you swim upstream long enough, Gary,
yep,
it's bad news, buddy.
Yep. But hey, what I also like is that the very last sentence or the very last paragraph. Train gi to help your no-gi game. Train no-gi to help your gi game. Train jiu-jitsu, all of it, because it's awesome. That's awesome. Train all of it because it's awesome. So, yeah, train gi, train no-gi. Just have fun. It's awesome. Keep training.
That's kind of the what I've been in. Doing this podcast and having a full-time job and doing jiu-jitsu. Gary, the same thing. We're busy guys. No, we're not complaining about it, but we train when we can. And if I'm only able to train on a gi night, I'm going to train on a gi night. If I could train on a no-gi night and I've not, I'm able to get away from the house and do some training, I'm going to train on a no-gi night. It doesn't matter to me what night it is. If I'm available and there's my friends are there rolling, that's where I'm going to be. And it's affected my game in the fact that I try not to work on a lot of like gi specific techniques, which is probably a negative if I want to get better at gi, but because I can't work those on no-gi nights.
Yeah. Well, I noticed you've been trying, like when we're training no-gi, you've been trying like cross-collar chokes and
T-shirt.
They're just not working.
Yeah. I remember the first time I got choked with my T-shirt.
I've been choked with my T-shirt. I think we all have.
It leaves like a real good bruise on your neck. It's real sharp.
I even had a guy choke me with his own long sleeve rash guard.
Never had that before, but
yeah.
Oh man, good times. The first time I was choking with my T-shirt was some judo guy, and it was we're trying to do some no-gi, and I didn't know what I was doing, and he neither did he, and wrapped my shirt around my neck a couple times. So good times. But I do recommend training both. If you've only trained one, or you really like one or the other, they're so similar. If you've trained for a year of all gi, once you take the gi off for even a handful of times, it starts to become familiar for you, and it's really not that big a deal. And it's like, I think a lot of times the guys with the gi get really good at the gi, and they feel like they're not that good without it. Well, if you're training strictly no gi, you gotta go roll with those guys who are like the jiu-jitsu nerds who are really good with the gi. Those are great training partners who you're missing out on. So
I notice every time I put the gi on, people just start drooling. Everybody's looking at me. I have a whole line of people wanting to roll with me.
Well, that's going to help with the sweat situation. Drool's same thing.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're looking out for you, Gary. But good article. Jiu-Jitsu Times is always a fun resource of articles, and they always have good information. And for me, I went like their page on Facebook, and I always see stuff from them. They're always putting out quality work. Speaking of Facebook pages, go by and find bjjrally.com and like his Facebook page. It's a great way to keep up with him and watch him on his journeys there. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes. That way it's easy to find for you if you can't find it on by typing it in via your phone. So I'm trying to make it easy for you, my friends.
Man, you just make it too easy for everybody, Byron.
Like passing my guard, too easy.
One more very important thing to talk about before the interview is a new Rashguard for sale. This Rashguard is called Just Another Lion to Kill. This isn't your typical Rashguard. The proceeds from this go to our friend Paul Morgan. If you don't recognize his name, I'm sure you've heard his voice. If you're listening to this podcast, you've hopefully listened to his podcast, Open Mat Radio. That's been a big inspiration for me in doing this podcast, and the stuff that he's able to do with that has been amazing. He also has another podcast called The Journey Podcast. But Paul's going through a tough time right now. He's battling cancer, and that's difficult on many different levels. First off, you are faced with something that might kill you, like just to say it that bluntly. So many days in our lives, we take that for granted. I'm assuming today that I'm going to be around tomorrow. I'm going to be around next week, next month. I don't think about that real deeply, and I hope you don't either. Like that's something that is a luxury that we're usually able to not worry about and think about. when you're faced with this sort of a threat to your life, it becomes a very big burden on you. That's one aspect of that. Another one that can be just as stressful is the financial burden that your medical bills are creating. There's this Rashguard here, and the money for that will go and help Paul help take care of some of that, some of those expenses. Now, all that being said, if it was a plain Rashguard that said Paul Morgan on the front of it, I'd go and I'd order this Rashguard. But it doesn't. It's a cool Rashguard. It is really cool. He's got his slogan or his kind of a mantra that he has is just another lion to kill. When something comes up and it's a challenge, accept it and just kill that lion and just try to work with it and do your best you can at this challenge at hand today. What's in front of you, and so that's what the Rashguard says. It's got a lot of his sponsors and support. It looks like it was designed by Mirkatsu. It's got a cool lion on the front of it, on the side of the chest, and then also on the back of it. It's a huge lion with a crown and beautiful artwork. So this Rashguard, I'd buy it if it just said hit Paul's name, but it doesn't. And I'd buy it if it just looked this good and didn't support anybody. It's that cool of a Rashguard. I really urge you to go check it out. If it's any interest to you at all, get it. If you know who Paul is, I'm sure you'll be getting one. They're doing a pre-order now. Paul has done great things for this community. I've chatted with him online. I'm doing an interview with somebody, and I got a couple questions. I'm a little bit nervous. I want to do my best possible interview. Paul has helped me on multiple occasions and gave me some advice about what to say during an interview or what to ask about. To me, that's a big deal, and that's just. I think that just kind of shows the person he is. He's a real nice guy. So this is a great way to help out a great person in our community. So many times our lives are focused around us. We take selfies a lot, if you think about it like that. Of course we take selfies. It's fun, and you get to see you and share that picture with your friends and things like that. But really, today, Christmas is coming up. Even if you listen to this in the future, if this Rashguard is available, this is a limited time only, I think. But it's time to turn that camera around and point towards something else. It's not all about you today. If you can afford this and you've done the research to realize how great of a cause this is, because it is, I urge you to get a Rashguard. Great way to support Paul, and you get a sweet Rashguard to roll in, and then you could tell people where you got it and maybe sell a few more. Medical bills aren't cheap. I'm feel very fortunate that I don't have any to deal with myself. I'm going to be wearing this when I roll as soon as I get it. And I hope to see you guys wearing these, just another lion to kill Rashguards as well. So, without any further ado, we'll go ahead and roll the interview.
He is the most interesting grappler in the world.
He credits most of his wins to maintaining eye contact with his opponent. His gi never smells, even after rolling with the stinky guy. He is often seen riding a unicorn to open mat. When he got his white belt, black belts traveled for hundreds of miles just to roll with him.
I don't always listen to podcasts, but when I do, I prefer the BJJ Brick podcast. Stay sweaty, my friends.
All right, my friends, I'm happy to bring Scott Balor from BJJ Rally to the BJJ Brick podcast. Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's going good. I'm excited to bring you to the audience and to the podcast and learn what you're doing there. You are on kind of a mission to travel around and to a bunch of different gyms here in North America and do some training. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to.
All right. Well, I'm 30. I'm a brown belt under John Crouch, who's down at the MMA lab in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been training for about 8.5 years. And I'm from Montana. That's where I grew up. And that's where I left from to start my trip. So I started training jiu-jitsu in 2007, I guess. Out in Olympia, Washington, when I was living out there, just kind of totally picked it up on a whim for a little physical outlet, and then I never looked back. Like, I got hooked right away. Started going to practice like 5 days a week right off the bat. And then after about 2 years training there, I decided I was going to get really serious because, like, I thought I was going to win worlds, you know, like every blue belt, like I want to be world champ. So I packed up all my stuff and I was getting ready to move. And I went back through Montana to see some family. Broke my ankle while I was there. I was messing around doing some flips and I broke my ankle. So I had to stay in Montana for a little while and heal up. And I ended up not really leaving. I found a gym in the town I used to live in and stayed there, tried some MMA for a little bit. And then I got the urge to travel again and pursue jiu-jitsu a little bit more. So I went down to Phoenix, Arizona, trained down there, got my brown belt from Professor Crouch. And then I moved back to Montana for another year to help a friend open a school in that same town, and that kind of went all right. It's still going, but I decided to hit the road because I still have that competitive itch. Like, I want to win something big that I can be proud of, and I also want to be like the best coach that I can be. And so I want to expose myself to a lot of different instructors and learn a lot more stuff before I make a run at my own school back in Montana.
Well, that seems like you have a couple of goals. It sounds like to become a competitor and to compete at a high level and something you can be proud of, and then to not just learn jiu-jitsu from these coaches and instructors you're learning from, but to learn about how to coach and learn about how to be that great instructor as a goal.
Yeah, definitely. The competition and the instruction kind of go hand in hand. I figure, like, it's nice to have that credential. You know, if you got a couple medals on the wall, you know, it sort of legitimizes you a little bit too. So there's that.
Well, cool. So you're 30 and you decide to pack up and hit the road. How do you? I can't comprehend how you put your, I guess your home life or on hold and just leave. How is that process? Is that pretty tough?
Well, no, it was super easy for me. Like, I wouldn't say home life. Like, I'm just a bouncer back home. I don't have any type of serious career. You know, I'm not moving up the ladder with any company or anything like that. I don't have a wife. I don't have any kids. I don't have a lot of expenses or anything like that. So I just saved up my tips for a little while and bought a van and just headed out. You know.
Wow, and then that's neat. So, you talk about it on your blog there that you don't have like any real route or destination or itinerary. So, when you left Montana, what was like? Where were you set to?
Well, I knew I was going to go to New York. I made that plan. I figured if I didn't set up like a specific itinerary or schedule or anything, that it'd be easy to knock it off track. It would be real malleable for whatever situation came up, if I wasn't obligated to be anywhere on a certain day. But I just decided like I was going to go east and go to New York. I guess my only real goal is to like go to Marcelo's. That's what I was going to do. So, and then whatever else happened after that was just was extra,
Not being an expert at geography, I don't believe Montana and New York are real close together. So you were just going from kind of school to school, getting your way towards New York, right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
East.
Heading east. Well, cool. And you left in July of this year, and just to let everybody know, this is November 21st. So you left in July, and you're still on the road and going good today, aren't you?
Dude, still going. Yeah, I'm healthy. The band's running good. Got a little bit of money left. Doing all right.
How many gyms have you been to on this trip?
Well, I trained today here in Columbia, South Carolina. I did a noon class just a little while ago at Spartan Academy, and that's number 47.
Well, cool. And you've been to how many total in your jiu-jitsu training?
Well, I did a little bit of travel. Like I like to travel, and I've been on some other trips and stuff. And like I keep a list of every gym I've been to, and if the list is right, and I think it is, it's 69 lifetime.
Wow, that's impressive that you keep the list, and that's an impressive number. I'm not always real good about taking notes about things like that, but I think it's great that you're keeping track of where you've trained at and who you're training with and that sort of thing. That's and now you're doing it online to where people could kind of watch your travels and keep up with you. That's fun.
Yeah.
So just a kind of a random question here, but when you go to a fairly big or medium city where they have a couple different gyms, do you want to go to both of them or just go to one gym a couple times during your stay, or how do you decide what to do?
Well, it's kind of random. It happens different, at each city, but a lot of the places I've been have more than one. Like, there's not many towns I've been to that have just one school.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, to be fair, I would prefer to visit both. It doesn't always happen, but I'd like to visit, the 2 or 3 schools in the city, just so one doesn't feel left out. Like if I went to a school and didn't go to that, or went to a town and didn't go to that school, that I don't know, they'd be offended or anything like that. So and it adds to the list. I like to go as many as I can, so I like to rack them up when possible.
So you don't have to name names or anything like that, but let's say you go to some city and they've got like 3 nice, pretty big sized schools. You go to school A. How often does school A like kind of say, "Oh, don't go to that school. Don't go to school B," or are people, "Oh yeah, go down there, check them guys out. This is who's going to be there." Is it usually pretty good do people talk well of each other in the same city, or is it a little bit like, "Oh well, thanks for coming here first, and you can go there if you want, but good luck"? How is the atmosphere of gyms in the same city?
Well, I think maybe because like they're meeting me for the first time, and they don't know that I'm not some like spy from that school or whatever.
Yeah.
I think people kind of hold back, I've never heard anybody say outright like, "Oh, that school across town sucks." Like nobody's ever said that. On quite a few occasions, people speak highly of the place across town. Like in Connecticut, where was that? New Haven, Connecticut. There was 2 schools that I visited, and they loved each other. They cross-trained all the time, and they were like, "Yeah, you got to go visit the other guy. They're really good too." And that was pretty cool. Nowhere else has there been like any outright beef that I've been privy to. Anyway, like I'm sure there's some rivalries, but they don't tell me about it as a visitor.
What about those 2 schools where they were so complimentary of each other made them? Why do you think they were that way? I mean, was it leadership from the coaches and instructors, or was it just the way the students were all laid back and were able to cross train, or what created that environment?
I mean, if I had to guess, I'd say the guy that ran the one school, his name's Brad Wolfson. He's pretty active with the BJJ Globetrotters, so he's kind of got that mentality, that whole everybody train together mentality, and I think he was just really supportive of that second school when it opened in the city. Like he just wanted to see him do well, and they were good guys. Like they were reputable, good jiu-jitsu guys, and he was just really supportive when they opened. I think he even sent all the students, like they all went for their grand opening, trained together. I'd say he was probably the driving force behind that. Like it was probably up to him how his students, chose to react to that school or whatever, and he was all support. So,
oh, that's cool. I think that some schools have the idea that a certain percent of the students need to be mine. All of them, or as many as I can, and they compete, and they think that this town's going to have 50 people train jiu-jitsu, and I want to get 40 of them or whatever. But the reality of it is, some schools are good for some people, and then another school might be better for another person, depending on personalities and where you live within the city and just what you prefer as far as a training environment. So both schools could have like full capacity and you can get people to do jiu-jitsu that's to me is the big goal. Get people who want to train somewhere to train and let them figure out where they want to be, and in an environment where one school is okay with you checking out, go check out some schools and see what you like. And I think that's a good place to be. And it sounds like that's a great example of schools that actually support each other and are working well and promoting jiu-jitsu in the whole city.
Yeah, I think you're right too about how different schools fit well for different people. You can get a lot of variety of atmospheres and training styles and coaching styles and stuff in jiu-jitsu, and some people just prefer different things. So, I think it's got a lot to do with that. Also, in some of those bigger cities, like if you can't drive all the way across town, like there should be a gym that you can make it to that fits your schedule. Sometimes people are limited by that too. So,
yeah, absolutely. So let's just say I'm a fairly new grappler, white belt, maybe a blue belt, and I'm going on vacation or I'm traveling out of where I'm used to being, and I want to try some jiu-jitsu somewhere. How do I approach this potential school? I've definitely refined my approach on this trip. I think I'm getting better and better at it. I always before I would just walk in with my gi and be like, hey, can I train? But as I've learned, it really helps to send them a message first. Like I usually try to contact them on the internet, email them or Facebook them or something, to tell them who I am. Helps to tell them who your coach is and stuff, so you got kind of a reference. And you just, ask them if it would be okay if you could train. I try to include the days that I want to be there. I want to come this day at this time. And if you need to use a shower, it always helps to ask for that. My gis don't have any patches on them, so I try to mention that to them in my message. My gis are traditional colors and unpatched, so it can fit whatever uniform requirements you might have. And then I usually inquire about a mat fee, and then I bring some cash to cover that, depending on what it is. What is it?
Yeah, just, I try to be respectful and just announce myself and then show up.
So that's recommended opposed to just kind of just walking in the door saying, can I train?
Well, yeah, but I've done that too. Like sometimes I'm just not on top of the game, and I'll end up just having to walk into a place. But in that event, I just I don't bring my gi in first. Like I just walk in. I try to talk to somebody in charge, and shake their hand and be nice, and then ask them if it would be okay if I could train. And same thing, I just try to explain who I am and where I'm from. I try to give them a good vibe that I'm not there to dojo storm or something, and I'm just looking to train. And people are really receptive to that too. I haven't been turned away ever. So
cool. Yeah, that'll be your next big trip will be the big dojo storm where you go from town to town, dojo storming everybody.
Challenge, yeah. Challenge people.
So that's good advice. Get a hold of somebody before you head up there, and before you walk in the doors is always good. You mentioned mat fee. You've seen a lot of gyms. Do most schools charge you a mat fee if you're just going to show up and you're a traveler, and if they do, what is the typical fee for that?
Well, I kind of wish that I would have recorded who charged me mat fees and how much, because it'd be a cool statistic to look at. But I guess I'm going to say half the places, maybe 20 out of the 47 or whatever, have charged me some kind of mat fee, and it varies. Take $5 at a place to do an open mat once, which was a really good open mat, a lot of black belts, and everybody was tough. And then I paid $40 to train for a day at a couple of schools. Those are the notable ones, like Lucas Lepre and Marcelo. They were each $40 per day, but it was worth it, So I'd say the average price, 20, seems to be the standard. I'd say that's the median price that people charge. But a lot of places, they just don't mention it. If I do walk in or I come in to meet them, I don't bring it up. I don't ask them if they want money. I'll just wait to see if they ask for it. And then, you know, a lot of times they just don't charge. You know, if I'm nice and I'm cool and they have fun rolling with me and stuff, like sometimes people say, you know, you don't got to pay the mat fee, or you just got to pay for today and come back tomorrow for free, or something like that. So.
That's interesting. So you mentioned that'd be an interesting statistic to kind of keep track of what that would be. Any idea of how many places make you sign a waiver before you get on the mat?
I'd say all of them.
Okay.
Except maybe a couple. Like, I can't remember which ones, but maybe only once or twice have I not signed a waiver.
And that's probably pretty smart.
Always sign a waiver.
That's probably pretty smart as a gym owner to get people to sign a waiver. Right?
Definitely, yeah.
How do you select the gyms? If you're not familiar with the instructors and you just kind of whoever's popping up on Google and looks decent, is that one way to pick out a gym, or are you going to specific gyms and you know who's going to be there already?
Well, you know, there's reputable gyms or, you know, well-known ones, and I definitely try to always go to those. But in other places where there's not one that I know off the top of my head, I usually just go Google Maps. Like, I'll Google the city, and then I just type in BJJ, and some gyms come up. And I usually pick them based on their website, or if they respond to me, you know, if they're easy to get a hold of. Like, the gyms that are easy to communicate with always get a visit. There's been a couple that I've wanted to visit, and I just couldn't get any information from them. Like, couldn't get any response or anything. And I ended up not visiting those places, just because I wasn't sure, you know.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's mostly just Google. A couple times I've gotten references. You know, people will say, "Oh, you're going south. You should check out this gym and this gym." And my buddy trains down here, and I've gotten to a couple good places through that too, actually.
That's cool. I mean, I'm in Kansas, so that's really not where you're near now. But if you want to come through Kansas, no matter which direction you're coming from or going to, I'd be able to tell you, hey, before the end of the day, you could easily get to this gym and train with these guys here. And I think that's probably a good way to find a gym. Especially, I guess, it's different for you because you're on the road, purposely going from one place to usually when people travel, they're just kind of in a town or in a city, and they're there for a while. You're kind of doing something a little bit unusual or extraordinary.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I guess I should mention too, Reddit, the BJJ subreddit has helped me sometimes too. I'll Google a city, and you know, people will be able to tell me a lot about gyms in a certain area. Or there's a thread somewhere that says, you know, this is probably the best gym in town or whatever, and I'll try to go to that one. When I travel, I try to bring along a gi if I have room in my luggage. If not, I'll at least bring a pair of shorts and see if there's a no gi time to train. But it seems like different gyms almost have different styles of grappling. Like, everybody at this gym is going to, you know, do this type of guard, or they like to play this type of game. And it seems like that gym is excelling in a few areas. You know, obviously with the more students and the bigger the gym, more people will do different things. But it seems like each gym to me kind of has a different feel to it as far as the techniques the students are executing and stuff like that. Do you get the feel for that usually? Definitely, yeah. I would say it's not even so much the sets of moves people choose, like a guard or a strategy or anything, but maybe just certain small aspects that everybody does well, but the coach is really good at, or really drills into his students. Like the place I was at today at noon, they all had really good choke defense. I didn't get any collar chokes, you know, despite going from, I was trying to choke white belts and I couldn't get anything going. They were just all really good at defending their necks. You know, that was something they were universally good at. And then at other places, I've noticed a couple places they all try to open the closed guard the same way. Or they all try the same sweep right away.
Yeah.
For some of the lower belts, but yeah, that's definitely true. City schools have styles for sure.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the fun things about traveling around. I mean, just to see what people are doing and to experience, you know, jiu-jitsu is so it works. You know, if you got a good close guard or a good sweep or something, it'll work great. But just to encounter somebody else's game and to try to make your game, you know, fit to that, you're getting that experience a lot. You know, like every day you're getting that with new people all the time, and so that's just got to be it seems like it would be a period of like a lot of growth for you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting better, like I'm improving. I'm learning a lot. I'm really seeing that the basics will see you through anything anybody can throw at you. If you got good fundamentals and you obey certain laws of grappling, it'll kind of see you through against anybody. So that's not really my style. My fundamentals aren't so strong, but I'm definitely realizing their importance and really trying to work on that.
That's cool. Yeah, and I've read on your blog that you do a lot of times we'll attend a fundamentals class and you'll be in there with a lot of newer students, and you'll still be able to pick up things and just to see things maybe from a different angle that you had before.
Yeah. You know, like I just said, like my fundamentals aren't that strong. You know, so whenever I can get into one of those basics classes, I try to, and I've learned some really good stuff, just simple things. You know, don't reach over here, or, you know, keep your head on this side of their body at this time or whatever. And some of that stuff's really helped my grappling.
So you're traveling around the country and training in gyms all the time. Where are you staying? How are you managing like the, you know, just living life when you're not rolling?
Well, I got a van in Montana. I bought myself a 2000 Chevy van. It's light blue. It's like Tar Heel blue. And it's like an old work van, so it has a metal partition that separates the back from the front, no windows, so it's like a metal box. And I built myself a little bed. I got a hotel mattress on a wooden platform, keep all my stuff in some crates that I found, and I got a bicycle and a water jug, and I stay in that. I got a sleeping bag, and I just do laundry at laundromats, and the van is my home.
How many gis do you have in there?
4. I got 4 gis.
So, do you train one night? Do you go immediately to the laundromat, or do you throw the gi and let it kind of air dry overnight, or do you have like a routine for dealing with things like that?
Yeah, I try to wash all the gis at once. I'm cheap. Maybe that's like unsanitary. But yeah, I try to limit my laundry till I have one big load, because that saves me a couple bucks. And if I have a clean gi to use, I'll forego the laundry and use it. I guess the simple answer would be I only do my laundry when I run out of gis, which is sometimes in like 2 days. You know, if I go to practice twice a day for 2 days, it's laundry time. I just kind of run it like that.
Are you doing much no-gi training?
Yeah, I'm doing a fair amount. I think I'm training more in the gi, not intentionally, but it seems like most schools have 3 or 4 gi days and maybe 2 no-gi days. So I'm totally willing to train no-gi. I like it too. But I think it's, 60-40 gi just based on people's schedules and stuff.
Wow, that's interesting. See, this is the type of thing that it's hard to get a feel for. Like, do most schools have more no-gi time or more gi time? Are the gi classes typically bigger or smaller than the no-gi classes?
That's a good question. I guess I wouldn't really know which are bigger. I noticed at a couple gyms, though, where I was able to go to like a gi day and no-gi day, that at a few of these places, the no-gi days were quite a bit bigger.
Okay.
I think newer grapplers, or maybe people with previous grappling experience, like wrestling, maybe more than judo, they prefer no-gi. And I know when I was new, I was kind of not into the gi. I didn't want to wear a uniform. Like, I thought it looked dorky, and I didn't know how to use it, and it was always used against me, and I liked to just show up in the shorts and t-shirts, so no-gi was kind of my preference at the start. So I think you do see a lot of people train no-gi. But then again, once you start training the gi, a lot of people end up liking it. So it's about even, I guess.
Well, that's cool to kind of try to get a pulse on what's happening around the country with gi versus no gi. I kind of got us off topic. I want to learn more about your like living lifestyle, out of the van and training. So you mentioned you sleep in the van. Do you park it in the back of the parking lot of the gyms, or is there a place you typically try to go to find a safe place to park your van overnight, or what's been working for you?
Well, it's a crapshoot. I guess I've had good luck so far. Nothing bad's happened in the van. But usually McDonald's and Starbucks parking lots are a safe bet. McDonald's, they don't care. The employees are oblivious to what's going on outside, and you can usually park in McDonald's, and they don't care. And they got Wi-Fi and coffee in the morning, which, I really like that. A little bit of morning Wi-Fi and coffee right when I wake up. And Starbucks has a good signal. And they're everywhere, every city I've been to's got a McDonald's and a Starbucks. I like to park on the streets when I can. I avoid parking meters at all costs. I really don't like to pay for parking because I'm not used to it, being from Montana. But, the van is, I feel like it's pretty secure. I don't have a lot that people want to steal anyway, unless people want to steal my clothes. But, I locked the thing up good, and I parked it in some unsavory neighborhoods or whatever, and I wasn't too worried about it. So I haven't been rousted by the cops yet. I know a lot of places it's frowned upon. Car camping is illegal by some city ordinance, but the cops have never been pounding on my van telling me to get lost or anything like that. So
you just a little bit more off topic, and then I want to get back to the van thing. Starbucks and McDonald's, and you like to get coffee. Which coffee do you prefer?
McDonald's, cheaper. And it's about the same, It's,
That's awesome.
It's only marginally better at Starbucks, and their stuff is usually it's a little burnt. It's been on their heating element a little too long. I think their effort to make what people would consider a bold tasting coffee, I don't know what word, just a kind of a fancier coffee flavor to burn it more.
Wow. See, I'm not a coffee drinker myself, so you'd have to pay me to try to choke down a cup of coffee or a mug of coffee. But I've heard McDonald's has good coffee, and it's in a blind taste test is pretty good compared to more premium brand. So
it's legit, and it's usually fresher too. The McDonald's coffee's fresh. I throw 2 creamers in it, and I'm good to go.
Well, cool. We're talking a little bit about living in your van and feeling safe. Your windows, your van's blue. It looks like your windows are blue. Is there a way for you to be able to look out your van in all directions and see what's going on, or if someone's coming from you know what I mean?
No, somebody could definitely run up on me from the back. I guess they didn't know. And there's been some times at night, where I close the partition, and the cab, of course, has windshield and side windows and rear view mirrors. I can see what's going on like a regular car, but there's been a couple nights in the back where I'm all walked up back there and I hear some noise. I don't know what it is. I'm just laying back there, imagining things. I always think, whenever I hear, a street sweeper at night or a car or a diesel, I'm always kind of scared that it's a tow truck, coming to get me.
Oh, yeah.
I live in fear of tow trucks.
That would be, I see, I don't even think about that now, but you'd hope they at least give you the courtesy of knocking on your van before they hook it up and, okay, I'm getting moved, so... I guess,
and I always think, I always play the scenario out, what would you do? So I figure I would feel the guy hooking up to the van, getting ready to tow me, and I guess I would just try to throw a shirt on and, run out as soon as I could and talk him out of towing me. I don't know. Luckily, I haven't had to deal with that yet.
Yeah. It's kind of just that little mental exercise that you run in your head, what would I do if this happened? I found that to be pretty valuable sometimes in my life. What would I do if this kind of weird thing happens? And not that you have to think about it real hard, but just that your brain has figured out, okay, this is a decent plan. And then, if it ever happens, if it's a year from now or maybe on some big trip, a while from now, and the tow truck, your brain's already, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Get dressed and go out there and talk to the guy. And it just, to me, it always lessens some stress if you have kind of a little pregame about weird scenarios.
Absolutely.
It would drive me crazy to not be able to see like in all, like 360 degrees and be able to kind of get eyes on every area. But you just kind of just hope.
But the other side of that, like I've done a couple trips like this in a pickup. I used to have a full Nissan pickup with a topper.
Yeah.
And I'd sleep back in there on like a little deck. And I could see what was going on around me. But the downside was that I get a lot of light pollution, like street lights and stuff will keep me awake. But also the cops and robbers or whoever can see you, so if they see some guy sleep in the back of his truck, like maybe that makes an easy target. So I guess I prefer no windows. That's my style.
I got you. It makes sense. You just the idea. I don't think I've ever slept in a van, so I'm really not experienced at that part. But it's interesting to me. So where do you shower at?
I got a Planet Fitness membership. That seemed to be the best choice. It just has like the most locations nationwide. There's none in Montana, of course, but once I got to Minnesota, like there's usually a Planet Fitness everywhere. So I'll go there and shower. It's cheap. I never lift weights. I just walk in, shower, walk out. I really like it when gyms have showers. That's really convenient for me. But when they don't, I got Planet Fitness to rely on. And a couple times, like, here's an interesting story. I don't even know why. For a couple reasons, I just couldn't get to a Planet Fitness. I didn't have one. Or it was far away, or I was in a hurry or something. But Starbucks has single occupancy bathrooms that lock, right? So I'll go in there with my soap and like a hand towel, and this is all in a backpack, my change of clothes or whatever. And I'll go in there and I'll lock the door, and I will like get the floor all wet, and I'll just get myself wet in the sink and like soap and clean off that way. I think they call that like a gypsy shower in the sink. I've had to do that a few times. So
you gotta try to stay clean. That way you keep training and you don't get anything crazy on the mats and take it from one school. You've been spreading different funguses around the country. You can't have that. So you got to clean up somehow.
I'm sure like it's like invasive plant species, like the like northern ringworm would like decimate people in the south or something.
Yeah, and then we could trace it like as it goes from city to city. Oh, look where this guy's been. Scott's been here, and then it was there. A few months.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people appreciate you, making the effort and going through the extra mile to make sure you're clean and not doing something like that.
Well, I do my best, yeah. Like I don't know if I'm just susceptible or whatever, but I've always kind of dealt with like skin issues and stuff. So I've become really stringent or whatever about the way I keep myself clean. I always try to shower as soon as possible, and I of course never wear the same stuff twice. And I got the good soap and stuff. And I really do my best to stay clean. But it really comes down to the gym. If I go train at a gym that's maybe not as clean as it could be, like it really raises my chances of getting the stuff, I think. And again, maybe that speaks to like the foreignness or something. If I'm not used to that gym's strain of whatever they got, maybe it jumps on me quicker than it does them or something. But yeah.
Wow. Just a little bit more about Planet Fitness. Do they charge you when you? So you're a member, but can you just walk in any gym in the country and shower? Or do they charge like a little bit of like a mat fee type of a thing, like just for using their facility from out of town?
No. You can do the $10 a month membership, or for $20 you can go to all of them around the country. So I threw down the extra $10 a month, and now I can go to any Planet Fitness. So I get like some looks, I walk in like sandals and gi pants and a sweaty shirt, like I've already worked out and they wonder what I'm doing there. And I just smile at them and walk in and explain it sometimes. But just shower and get out of there.
Yeah, I mean that's one beauty of traveling that I've always kind of enjoyed is if people think you're crazy and look at you funny, You don't live there, and you're about to move on anyway, and
yeah, you're never going to see him again. So yeah, I can do all kinds of dumb stuff around here. Like, they'll never see me. So.
Well, that's one nice thing about traveling. So how many days have you been on the road? You said July till about
July 22nd. I left, and tomorrow will be the 22nd of November. So, like 4 months.
Okay,
I guess
cool.
you could say like 120 days roughly.
Wow. And you don't have like an end in sight, really?
Not really. Nope. I'm on my way down to Miami now. I've always wanted to go to Miami, and so I'm doing that. I suppose at some point I might have to get a job to continue, work for a couple months, get some more cash, and keep on going down the road. But yeah, there's no real end in sight. I always figure if I find a gym that I want to maybe stay at and put down some roots, I can always go back to that school.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to keep going for a while. I'm sort of liking the idea of maybe making it to 100. That'd be kind of a cool thing to say. I did 100 gyms,
Wow.
So.
Yeah, that would be impressive. Do you have any way to make income while you're on the road, really?
There's definitely ways. I'm not making any money. I wrote a couple blog entries for this one, like, extreme sports blog. And he was giving me like $25 an entry. And I gave him like 3, kind of sporadically. So I got some money there, but I haven't written for him for like a few months now. We just kind of stopped talking to each other. I don't think anybody was interested in jiu-jitsu. So, yeah, that was it. If my blog gets real popular or something, like, I would consider trying to like sell some ad space or something. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So you go to the gym and you train, you roll with the people, and then you usually will write up a little blog post about it, right?
Yep.
And what are your goals with that? Just sharing about the school, or is it kind of like almost like a personal note that you want to have, or what is your goal with keeping this ongoing blog of your travels?
I guess I figured the first reason would be because I've done a couple other trips, like driving around the country and training, none to this extent, but it's hard to remember about those trips, where all I went and what it was like and what I learned. So this will be like a good historical record or something of what happened. I can remember all the schools and who I met and what I learned and stuff. I can look back on that forever because it's on the internet. And also, I thought people would be interested in it, that I could become like a minor jiu-jitsu celebrity or something by traveling, going to schools. That wasn't the real goal, but I sure would have been a bonus. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Yeah, some people requested it back home. They said, "Man, you should write a blog about that since you're doing it." And, it's good. I guess I'm improving my writing skills. I'm learning a lot more about media stuff. How to do it right. So.
Yeah, I definitely understand. Like, you're kind of making this like epic journey across the country, going to all these different gyms. Why not share your experiences online? And it seems like it would be a nice resource for anybody. Maybe I live in a certain city that you went through, and that's just, I want to start training, or I want to look and see what gyms are available, and that would probably pop up as a resource for me to kind of say, oh, he went to this gym, and what was experiences like there, and it just seems like a nice account of your experiences at the gym.
Yeah, there was that. There's that aspect too. I guess I didn't mention earlier. It's nice to read an objective review about a school. Like, most reviews that you get about a school are from somebody that goes there. Like, every jiu-jitsu school only has 5-star ratings on for Facebook or whatever. And they're like, "This is the best gym in North America" or whatever. And no, it's good to. I would trust from somebody who maybe trained at some other schools and visited and had some way of comparing that particular school to other ones. So yeah, maybe it's a resource for that too.
Cool. So you've got to see or be a visitor at so many different gyms. What makes you feel like you're a welcome guest when you get to a gym?
Well, it might seem small, but some kind of greeting is always good. It can be from anybody, like just some random guy on the mat, or like the person that's working the front desk, or the instructor, or the owner, or anybody. If there's somebody to talk to kind of right away, that's always comforting. It's a little awkward to stand in a gym for a few minutes and just kind of look out of place until somebody comes up and talks to you, until you have to pick somebody out and guess who's the right person to talk to. So I think that's a big thing, is to greet your guests right when they come in. People are usually pretty friendly. Some smiles and handshakes go a long way to make me feel pretty good too. A little bit of small talk. Just a friendly atmosphere always puts me at ease.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned it doesn't need to be anybody in particular. Just if you're there training and it's your gym, it's like it's your house, and you have a visitor. If you've been there 2 months, go up there and talk to the person and say, okay, you haven't been here before, and you're traveling. Great, you need to talk to this person. And you could just that is way better than watching, I'm going to watch Scott awkwardly stand in the corner and wait for somebody to talk to him because nobody is. Like,
it's the worst. Yeah, and I feel like awful, like so much anxiety just standing there like holding the gi. I've even had like I'm getting ready to go to the adult class and the kids class is finishing, and like some parent will come up and talk to me and, oh, how you doing? Like, oh, this guy's the coach. That's who you want to talk to. And, just anybody to just say hi to you or something, I think makes a huge difference.
Cool. It's good to hear for anybody who trains at a jiu-jitsu gym. Don't let, it's up to you to not let the guests, stand there and wait and feel awkward about it. So do you tell people that you have a blog and that you're doing this journey, or do you just kind of go and train and then write about it?
Well, I guess I've had different approaches for different schools. Just randomly, like as I'm traveling, I think I'm getting better at what I'm doing. So now recently, I've been pretty good about sending a message and telling them like I write a blog, and because I'm trying to kind of expand and maybe add some more different kinds of content and stuff, I'll usually say, when I visit a school, I write about it, and I try to make a technique video, and it would be cool to interview somebody who trains at the school and maybe the instructor or something. I try to lay a foundation for that, because I found it's not so good to just spring that on people. Like after practice, we're all sweaty and tired, like, hey, dude, can I interview you? A lot of people say yeah, but it feels awkward too. It doesn't really feel maybe respectful or timely. So I guess I maybe trained a couple places where I just didn't ever mention that I wrote a blog. But usually when I make the small talk with people, they ask me, like, where are you from? And I say Montana. And they're like, well, are you here for business? Jiu-jitsu. Oh, jiu-jitsu. And I said, yeah. And I'm writing a blog about it. I don't know. I want readers, so I try to mention what I can.
Yeah, that's, it seems like the kind of the right approach. You don't want to go in there and announce with hey, guess who I am? It's, but just, hey, I'll probably be writing about you and happy to be here. And if you want to check it out, this is kind of what I've done in the past, and probably something similar will happen from my experiences here. And it seems like you're happy to train where you get to train.
Yeah. And I guess I'll see more as time goes on, but a couple of schools, when I send them that message, I won't get a response. Maybe they don't want somebody coming in and doing a write-up on their gym, or it's just my message sketches them out or whatever. And I guess maybe that's for the best too. If they don't want to be written about or something, then I need to be considerate of that. But some places are real receptive too. They're definitely eager to have you come in and do a piece about them. And hopefully they look at the blog and they see that for the most part I write good stuff. Like I haven't really trashed any schools too hard or anything. So, yeah.
Well, that's good. You
obviously, as you go and you experience different people, different teaching styles, and different coaches, can you think of what maybe a couple of your favorite people that have taught you, and maybe what they did differently, and what set them apart from the average instructor?
All right. Well, I know a lot of good coaches. There's some jiu-jitsu guys that I've never heard of. Just black belts that are not famous by any means, and they're awesome. They're super good coaches, and they're really, really good grapplers. And that's been pretty refreshing. I'd say my favorite instructors. Like I just said, there's been so many good ones, but the ones that kind of stick out to me, I thought Marcelo was good. Like, I'm sure a lot of people say that, but he really, like, compared to other people, he's different. I think a lot of people say, okay, well, we're working on this position in this series, and here's where we're going to go and how you do it. And they can be really good at that, but it seemed like in the 2 weeks I was there, his style was more like we're going to work on taking an advantage from this like neutral situation or this position. The way he kind of built it was interesting. Like he did a lot of like 2-on-1 arm grip stuff, and he would talk a lot about how to initiate that or how to attain it. If the guy controls your hands first, or you control his hands first, or you're sitting down and he's standing up, or vice versa. All the ways that you can gain a 2-on-1 control, and then he would go from that 2-on-1 to like, if you like single leg X, or if you like X star, or you want to stand up or arm drag, like he would give little pieces of info on the ways to do that. But it was it seemed more, I guess, conceptual, maybe is the word, or more open ended. Like it was easier to tailor to what you tried to do for your game. It was really good. I think that guy, he's a really good athlete for one thing, but also like his mind is pretty impressive. The way he seems to think about jiu-jitsu, and like the way he can determine what's important and what needs to be done, and the things he needs to focus on, like, is real impressive. He was a great instructor, and he really sticks out from the rest just in his style and methodology. And there's been a lot of other great ones, but it seems like something that can really easily make a good instructor or make a decent instructor great is just being organized. The guys that have a lesson plan, maybe more than a week to like a few weeks in advance, or they're working on something serious over the course of a month or something, they really seem to have a nice smooth flow to their class, and their speech and their instruction really goes well when they know in advance what they're going to work on, and not just kind of come off the top of their head. I think that's a big thing, is knowing what you're going to teach well in advance, and studying it a little bit. Just because you do it well doesn't mean that you can talk about it well. So I think it's nice when the guys go back and they do a little research. Maybe they watch some videos, or they prepare some notes, some things that they want to talk about, some points that they want to cover, and they have that prepared for when they go into their class. It's really helpful.
Wow, that's you mentioned at the beginning of the interview that you want to become a better competitor, and you ultimately want to become a better instructor or coach, and so that's very interesting that you've picked up that, and I think most people have experienced just because somebody could do something doesn't mean that they could teach it that well, and it may just be jiu-jitsu in general, or it might be like this guy's got a really good certain pass, but he can't show it to me to where I could do it. I mean, they're two different skills a lot of times, and that's something that you've obviously picked up on, and it sounds like you're going to be able to take that and use that when you have your own place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some moves you just do, and you don't necessarily know exactly why they work or how you keep getting, the pass or whatever. And it's good to stop and think about how and why a move you prefer works for you, and the real mechanics of it. And
okay.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not trying to like blow smoke up your ass or anything here, but I think I heard you say one time, like, would you rather learn boxing from Mike Tyson or from Mike Tyson's coach? I think I heard you say that. Maybe I'm not.
I don't.
It was on some podcast.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know if I've said that or not, but that's a good question. And I know who I learned boxing from is his coach.
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, that's just a great quote in my opinion.
Yeah, because...
And it applies specifically to Mike Tyson, too, because, like, he probably can't punch very well.
But, if you think about it, he's a tremendous athlete, and he's going to pick up boxing at a different rate than I would. I don't know anything about boxing, really. But for him to show me how to do that, he doesn't know how to teach it because he picked it up so easily. Boxing came, I'm assuming... more naturally to Mike Tyson than it would come to me. So
definitely, yeah, he has those stories about knocking out grown men when he was 11, robbing them and stuff. So, like, yeah, we can't all do that, but
yeah.
But the coach, I think, like, he might have just been average without a great coach.
And so that person had more struggles. They had more time, and they were like, okay, how this doesn't work. It's hard to do this. My uppercut is not getting the results I want. That's a problem that has to be addressed and fixed, and then is more easy to teach than Mike Tyson's just throw the uppercut, just do it. It's right there.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I don't know. You can, I guess, cut this out if it's not pertinent, but it's still about boxing. But I read a thing just the other day that said out of 6 losses Muhammad Ali had, I don't know if there was only 6 or like maybe 6 title fights or something, but 4 out of the 6 guys he lost to all came from the same coach. This guy Futch, I think his name was.
Wow. Yeah,
I thought that was that's really interesting, right? Like,
yeah, obviously if I was gonna to box him, or maybe I knew somebody who was gonna box, I would say go to that coach and learn what's going on. So that's cool. I want to talk a little bit about when you go to the school and you roll. Tell me a little bit about your grappling style and how you roll.
All right. Well, when I don't know somebody, it's like your first time training with somebody. I always try to go kind of easy, like not crazy. I will always try to go a little lighter than they're going, and then match that pace. Like I'll let them lead, so to speak, and kind of get a feel for how they like to roll, and then I'll try to roll at that level. I try not to go crazy right away. I just happen to like give up a position usually to start, and that gives me kind of an idea of the person's skill level. If they like finish me right away, it's like, all right, well, I can probably give this guy all I got because he can handle it. Or, if they do something and they make a big lane mistake, maybe that says that they're not a great grappler, and you don't have to take it to them or anything like that. But I always try to be like the cool, mellow guy for the most part, until I feel what they want to do, and then I'll do that. And I like to roll hard. Like I love to get after it with people and stuff too, but I don't want to do that without knowing that that's what they want to do as well.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat as you on just typically when I train, or especially when I travel. It seems like a lot of time, if we're starting from our knees, I will a lot of times will just pull side control and just see what they have to offer from side control, from the top, instead of having to fight from the knees or to make them work out of my guard right away. Just, hey, I'm here to have fun. Let's play for some side control. And if I get smashed right away, okay, that was that's okay. I could get smashed and get tapped, not a big deal. But then I know who you're dealing with, and it's time to play and have a little bit more fun. Occasionally, you end up getting like 5 rolls and nobody turns it up, and it's like, well, that's kind of disappointing. It seems like, but usually you'll find a couple of good rolls in there, and more or less, it's good to have a good time and to train with somebody who you don't know. It sounds like a pretty good system, and to just kind of to feel it out and see what they're going to bring and what they want to experience from you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do that. Like you mentioned, you kind of do the same thing, and that's kind of how I approach it. But I've met a lot of other people that seem to approach that the same way. When I roll with upper belts, especially like purples and browns and blacks and stuff, like I'll notice they do the same thing. Like we start out kind of easy and we feel a little bit, and then we like incrementally increase the intensity of something that we're both comfortable with, and that usually works out pretty good. Like have a lot of matches where we start easy and by halfway through, we both kind of learned that we're comfortable getting after it. And so, we end up rolling pretty hard, and it's nice too. People aren't, surprised and then upset by it or anything like that. It's kind of a mutual agreement to roll hard, so works out good.
How, another kind of a poll question is trying to get the pulse of the country. How many gyms do you usually get to roll with the instructor?
I would say like half.
Okay.
About half, maybe a little more than half. Today, I was at Gibson Saw, his school, at Spartan Academy, and he's sick, so I couldn't roll with him. And sometimes, the instructor has tons of guys on the mat, and he's got to be watching people, or maybe he's got a student with an event coming up, and he's got to pay close attention to him, and they don't always roll. But I've come across a fair number of guys that will roll with me. Out of that 50%, or let's say 50% that roll with me, half of those guys will put me with some other students to see what I'm about before they roll with me. And the other half will roll with me first, right away, and wreck me. Just to establish it, or, not in a mean way or anything, but just to I don't know, it's good. I think it's a useful way to be introduced to the gym or whatever too. And then, so.
Wow. That's, I don't know if I've had the experience of being a guest and then being just wrecked by the instructor on the first roll, but, it seems like a lot of times they'll get a purple belt or a brown belt and they'll, they kind of want to watch. And that's pretty common. They'll pick out a couple guys for me, watch what I'm doing, and then sometimes I'll turn it to me, sometimes it won't. But they do that a lot too. Yeah, they'll try to watch you and see what you're doing. Yeah, I don't blame the instructor for. I mean, it's the instructor's job to have a good training environment and safe gym for their class, for their students. So if you come in, they don't know who you are. So put them with somebody who can protect themselves and just kind of watch. And I'm not going to let you, roll with my white belts or my blue belts until I see that you are responsible and you've earned a little bit of trust. You know what I mean? That, to me, that makes sense to be an instructor and protect your students. From, you go in there and you do a heel hook right away in the gi and surprise the white belt. It's like, okay. The instructor probably could have paired you up. That's not what they thought you would do, but they didn't know. And so give them somebody who could handle or at least protect themselves and kind of just, see what's going on. I get the feeling a lot of times that people kind of watch, other students are kind of watching you roll with somebody else. And it seems like, a lot of times they'll save up some energy to roll with the guest. They really want to test themselves against somebody and that's fine, I guess. It's just a little different. It's like, oh, this guy's pretty fresh. Yeah. We've been rolling 5 rounds, and this guy, it's not even sweaty yet.
People go both ways with me on that a lot. So, there's definitely people that want to roll with me. They're confident in their skill, or they just don't care if they lose, and they're real eager to try somebody that doesn't train with them, and they want to see what else is out there. And at some schools, you get a lot of people that want to roll with me. I don't have to look for a partner. There's always somebody who's like, hey, you want to roll next? And then other places too, people don't want to roll with you. They'll kind of duck you a little bit too. And somebody has to get paired with you. I've been to classes where there was a bunch of higher belts and I had to roll 5 white belts in a row, and then I get a blue or a purple. And that's not bad always, but I don't know. Some people are a little apprehensive.
Yeah, that's not. It's not bad for you. You're not super disappointed about it, I guess. But to me, it's that to make a guest with any guest really that's trained, even if they've got one stripe on their white belt. Obviously, they trained somewhere. To put them with somebody who might be pretty unexperienced seems like you're putting your own student at a bit of a risk. Why not match them with somebody who could?
I would do that.
Yeah, why not match them up with somebody who could take care of themselves in case it got a little bit, a little bit heated or a little bit more of a match than the average white belt's used to dealing with. So it seems like a safe thing to do for your students is to,
hey, why don't you roll with him? And also, you know what upper belts you have that are going to be friendly and nice and treat the guests well, you know? I mean, you don't always get the same thing from a white belt. You know, you might bump them on the head and they end up getting mad, and then you basically have like a little fight going on. So that seems weird to me.
And some of those guys too, when their coach sends them to you, like the purples and up, where they say, "Oh, go roll such and such." Some of them, you know, take on the role of like the diplomat or whatever, and they're nice and they're friendly. And other guys think that they're being sent to kill you, and they'll like just give it to you real bad. But
yeah,
I don't know that. I think that comes a lot from the instructor, like their mentality and their approach to visitors and other schools and stuff. I think it takes a lot how their students receive visitors. So
how often or have you been asked to show something as a visitor?
Oh man, not as many times as I would like. But usually it's like a black belt teaching class, you know, or somebody that knows a lot, and like they don't really have any use for me showing anything. But at a couple places, a couple of the smaller schools, like real small ones, like back in North Dakota and in Montana, I got to show a couple of moves, which was fun. I don't know, maybe I just have an ego or whatever, but I liked it. I like showing moves, and there was somewhere else recently too. They said, "Hey, you know, you're the guest. Like, you want to show us something just for fun?" I think it was a black belt. You know, I think it was open that night or something, and he was just giving me a chance to show something. That was fun. I like to be able to share stuff as much as I like learning.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, you are a different person that they're not used to training with, and you especially because you've traveled so much and trained. But anybody has different things that they could offer in jiu-jitsu, and you're a brown belt. I'm sure you have parts of your game that are black belt level, and that, hey, you know, I'm going to show this today. And I mean, that seems like a lot of classes have curriculums, and this week we're doing this, and then this next week after that, this is going to go perfectly with what we learned before, and that's fine too. But you know, occasionally they'll ask to see a technique, and that seems like a way for the students to pick up something like a little bonus.
Yeah.
So obviously, this may be hard to quantify, but most classes, it seems like, have, you know, like a warm-up, a technique, and then a rolling, kind of like that format. How often do you learn, if you're going to learn like a tip or something for your game, is it after everything? And somebody says, hey, you do this pass, why not change it like this little bit, like a little tweak versus you pick up a cool technique in the technique portion? How much of your learning do you think has been after they've rolled with you and they've given you like a little pointer?
Not as much as I would like. It'd be cool, of course, a lot of these black belts that I get to roll with, I'm sure that they can point out a million things I could be doing better and stuff, and you know, of course, I'd love that advice. A few of the coaches have like really put some time and effort into me. They'll say, hey, okay, so we got done rolling. They'll say, you know, can I give you some advice? Yeah, please. You know, they'll tell you a few things, or they'll ask you, you know, well, how are you doing this, and why do you do it this way? Oh, well, how do you work out this way? And more often than not, or all the time, actually, if I ask them a question, hey, can I ask you about something, and they're more than willing to go over it with you. But I guess I mean I wish everybody that I rolled with would give me a tip, like even lower belts would, you know, have some advice to give now and then, but only some of the time, maybe a quarter of the time, do I get coaching beyond the structure of the class.
And that to me is an area that I love to learn in, and I love to be able to coach, because, you know, let's say you've done, I don't know, armbar from mount, you know, you tried it twice on me, and neither one of them could you land, but you were close. If I could tell you why you didn't quite get it, that's a big deal. You know, that's better than learning an armbar from guard today, because this like fits perfectly into your game, and it's just what you're working on, like a little tweak. I mean, that to me is a great opportunity for learning. Like right after the roll, hey, try this real quick, and it's hard because you don't want to mess up the next roll afterwards. But that to me is like a time. If you just make a small tweak, sometimes it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and it's always pertinent to your game too.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really relevant information for sure.
So you've been on this like big journey and traveling around in your van. Could you kind of like maybe list the states and tell us like where you've been and where you're headed?
Yeah. Okay. So I started in Montana, in western Montana, and I drove across Montana, and I drove across North Dakota, through Minnesota over to Minneapolis, and then I went down through Wisconsin and Madison, Milwaukee, and then down to Chicago, and then I trained in Indiana, and then I went to Michigan, and then I had the choice of continuing in the U.S. or maybe hooking up to Toronto to get towards New York. So I chose the Canadian route, and I went up through Toronto over to Montreal, and then I went back down into the U.S. through Vermont to Burlington, and then did Vermont, New Hampshire, and then I went to Portland, Maine. And then from Portland, I just kind of started going down the coast. I went through Rhode Island, a couple of really good schools in Rhode Island, and then down to Boston and New York, and then I think Philadelphia, and then D.C. I skipped Maryland. I kind of wish I'd gone to some places in Maryland, but then I went from D.C., I went down to Richmond, Virginia, and then from Richmond down to Charlotte. Stayed in Charlotte for a while, and I'm in South Carolina, and I'm going to Miami, and then I guess Miami will be another point right aside what I want to do. You know, I could cash in and stop, or I could go west. You know, I could go out towards California or back to the Midwest or something, but the plan is to work a little bit, maybe somewhere that I like, get a little more money, and then continue along the southern states west until it gets warmer, and then I'll go back up north.
Wow.
So I might get to California, I don't know.
You got to get to California, you say?
Maybe. We'll see.
So you kind of have like you're going to end up in Florida. That's your plan. And then you even said like cash in. Would you sell the van in Florida and fly back somewhere, or would you?
I could.
What does
right?
that mean?
I mean, that
cash
seems
in?
like a possibility. Like I could just put the thing up for sale and take all my money and like fly home or ride a bus home or something. I don't know, or to some other city, whatever. I could go overseas. You know, I could buy a plane ticket even.
Wow. So yeah, it sounds like it's like wide open, and you're up for just kind of seeing what happens and continue on with your journey and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I guess I'd like to find a school that I can plant roots at for maybe a few years. I'd like to win some bigger tournaments at the brown belt, maybe at Masters, you know, because I just turned 30. But I'd like to give a couple years to really dedicate to like big competition with a serious competitive school and see how that goes, so I can have that knowledge for later.
Wow, well, cool. It's an amazing journey, and you're in a situation where you're able to make that, and sounds like a good plan. If you ever come through Kansas, hit me up, and I'll probably help you out. You know, maybe some gyms coming up. You know, if you're coming from the south, you got to stop by in Oklahoma City. There's a couple of really cool gyms, and some in Tulsa. And if you're coming from the north or you're headed that way, you got to go to Kansas City and train with some friends of ours there.
Definitely.
you're
cool. Yeah, there's good gyms in all those cities, actually.
It seems like everywhere there's good gyms everywhere, and so you get to. But you're getting really experience a lot of them, and a lot of the really top tier gyms, and that's really neat. And you're just kind of following the Planet Fitness route, you know.
Yep.
It looked like there weren't any in Canada. I was kind of looking on a map, and there's not really much in Canada for Planet Fitness.
Oh, no, yeah, there was no Planet Fitness in Canada. Luckily, most of the gyms, Toronto BJJ and Open Mat MMA, they both had showers. And I went to 5 places in Montreal, and only one of them didn't have a shower.
Huh,
they're very clean people. Yeah.
And are you taking time to kind of just look around and see the sights of the city and in the state you're at?
Yeah, and most of the time, I'll definitely go on walks. Like I went on some epic walks through New York, like long walks on Sundays and stuff, or Saturday after training. I definitely like to explore. I eat a lot of food too. I spent a lot of money on cuisine that I can't really get back home. And I try to eat like the whatever regional specialty they have, you know, like some pizza in Chicago and a Coney in Detroit and that kind of thing. Whatever their food they're known for. Yeah, I try to do a lot of culinary tourism too.
That's
and
good.
Museums.
Oh, in museums?
Yeah, I go to some big museums too. But.
Oh, cool. That's a good way to experience a place you're visiting. So you obviously have some support. You know, you have the website and you have a Facebook page, and people are commenting on that and giving you some support, and you have some support back home. Tell me a little bit about the people that have made this journey a little bit easier.
Well, my parents, first of all, they're like the biggest readers of my blog. My dad's always commenting and stuff. It's nice to at least depend on them for some readership. My dad's a writer, so every now and then he'll give me some tips on how to clean it up and stuff. My Uncle Mark in Charlotte just put me up at his house for a little while and treated me really well. Yeah, that was really great. Let me eat all of his food, and you know, and bought me a Rashguard, and he flew me to Las Vegas. He was running a race, marathon out there, so I got to go to Las Vegas for a couple of days, and I got to see my mom down there. That was really sweet. And then you know, all the people I've trained with, like I'd say 99.5% of the people I've trained with are just really cool to me. They'll tell you about their city, they love to train, and the jiu-jitsu community is warm. Like everybody that trains is just cool. I haven't met one jerk that trains jiu-jitsu. And then yeah, anybody that reads the blog, thanks to them, like that always kind of tickles me. You know, I see I got readers and followers and stuff. Yeah, it's been great.
Well, that's cool. And if you were to get like a sponsorship, what would you like be able to do for them? Besides, obviously, you're in a unique position to kind of, as you go around the country, talk about, hey, you know, this is my sponsor is this gi company or this supplement company, and kind of be able to provide like a unique first-hand experience, like word of mouth style to people you meet. So that seems like an interesting opportunity. If a company's looking to sponsor you, that you would be able to do. I mean, it's pretty rare to have somebody that can go and do that. That's in your position.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, I think I could be a good like gi representative. I'm pretty hard on my gis. I wear them a lot. Like they get a lot of use. I gotta, you know, I beat them up and stuff, and I'd be sure to talk about the gi I liked or whatever. I got, you know, the van is blank, so I could put some humongous sticker on the side of the van as I rolled around. I don't drive crazy or anything like that, so I'd be a good piece of advertising. Like a soap company, that'd be pretty cool. There's a guy, Tortuga soap company. I trained with that guy in Rhode Island. He gave me a couple bars of soap, which is nice. It's damn good soap. I guess I call that a sponsor.
There you go.
Yeah, I get the soap guy. So yeah, I got soap from him. A soap company would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would hawk stuff for just about anybody as long as they were decent people and had a good product, you know.
All right, well, get a hold of Scott if you have a company and you want to support him on his travels and get the word out about your product, especially if it's jiu-jitsu related. He's in a unique position, and you know, putting a gi advertisement or something jiu-jitsu related on a van may seem kind of weird, but he's parking his van at jiu-jitsu gyms all over the country. Like, you know, and it stands out. It's not like some little car that nobody notices. This big blue van is here. It was this, you know,
it's
who's this
weird.
guy?
Yeah, people stare at it, and they would definitely stare at your ad if it were to be on the side of my van. You know, I'd put it on the blog too, I guess. You know, I'll definitely be sure to mention that in the blog every time or something like that. And then all the podcasts that I'm sure to be on after this get mentioned too.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing this one mid trip, and it's interesting and kind of catch you in the act of your travels, and you, like you said, you rolled today and you were training at a gym today, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, yep. I want to thank you too, man. Like, it's cool that you took an interest in this. Like, I'm glad for the opportunity. I actually listened to your blog. Like, that's how I knew who you were and stuff was, listening to the blog. I feel like I finally made it. I'm on a podcast, so I'm famous as far as I'm concerned.
All right. Yeah, it's, we were talking about before we started the interview, and it's like, you have a unique perspective of jiu-jitsu that I think most people would like to hear. I go to maybe a gym or two every year that's outside of my state, and that's what I could do, and I enjoy doing that. But you go to so many, and you get to see different things and train with different people, and just the experience of doing that, and then traveling in the van and experiencing life through that has been different as well. So it's been interesting talking with you, and I look forward. I recommend anybody go to the website, bjrally.wordpress.com, or go to the Facebook page that he's got set up, and I'll put links to everything on the show notes, and keep up with him and see what's going on. He's, Scott's on there posting regularly about where he's training, and it's kind of fun to watch somebody as they complete some big journey and where he goes next.
Yeah, all right, man. Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. I did too. It was nice talking with you, and we'll hear from you again in the future someday.
All right, thanks, man.
Yep.
We would like to thank Scott Balor for giving us the time and coming on and talking to us. And as you know, he's got a busy schedule, going to different gyms every day, driving from one place to another. But like we were saying earlier, it's like, man, that's something I want to do. I think that would be awesome, just to travel around the United States in a van and going from gym to gym and just checking out different places.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be fun for a while. I think I would. It sounds like it's hard too. I mean, he's literally, like, I was fascinated with that part of the interview, like trying to learn about his lifestyle of it, how he's doing it, and how he's able to really live out of a van and do jiu-jitsu and go back and sleep in a van and go drive some more and go do more. Like, that was, I've never really known anybody who traveled like that long term, and it was interesting, and where he parks to be safe and where nobody will mess with him and stuff like that. That's all stuff I really haven't thought about much, but he, that was kind of fun. That, it's always fun when we get a little bit off topic and learn about somebody, what else they're doing and how they're doing it. So that was fun.
Yeah, he's speaking about, being safe where he parks and stuff. I wonder if he has, like, jiu-jitsu stickers on his van. I mean, because all reality, I'm not going to mess with the van that's got the jiu-jitsu stickers on it.
That would be cool if he got a sticker at even a third of the places he went to, and he slapped that thing on the van.
Just had them all over the place.
That would be pretty neat.
Yeah,
I recommend it, Scott.
Tap-out sticker. You got to have that.
Yeah. He's, then that would be, the tap-out sticker. You just get that at Walmart, right?
Yeah, Walmart.
So wish him the best of luck and safe travels as always, and we'll keep up with you. Definitely recommend you do the same. Like we said before, go like his Facebook page, give him some support. He's out there, sleeping in that van and training, and I imagine the road could be a bit. Seem like it's a long way from home sometimes, and just some support from the community could probably go a long way. Send it his way,
Yeah, and if he happens to stop by the gym, tell him you stopped by your gym. Tell him you heard about it on BJJ Brick, and take him out to dinner. Take him out to lunch. Get him a good meal.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Gary. You have a warm heart. I tell you what, Gary.
How cool would that be to all of a sudden you listen to the podcast and you hear about him and you're like, hey, that's so cool. And then next thing you know, he stops at your gym next week. That'd be pretty neat. That
would be awesome. If you're a listener, and you could afford it and you have the time, take him out to dinner. That's just cool. So send us a picture through on the Facebook page there. How would they do that, Gary? Do we have a Facebooks?
Yeah, we have the Facebooks. Just check us out on the interwebs. So we have social media, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. We're a pretty big deal.
Yeah, they don't just pass those accounts out to anybody. It's a pretty exclusive club.
You have to be, like, I think over 5.
Oh, yeah.
5 years old. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Hope there's not an age limit, Gary.
Yeah. We could be in trouble.
We'll be getting in trouble. But, if you do take him out to dinner or lunch or hang out with him or meet him, send us a picture on Facebook. We would love to see that. That would be cool. And see a listener and B, see Scott, somebody we've interviewed and connected with and see it happening out there. That would make my day.
Yep, that'd be really neat. And hey, how about this, Byron? How about we give out a gi patch to the first person who posts on our Facebook page about where they've traveled, or something about where they've traveled, went on vacation, or whatever, just to train jiu-jitsu. And,
there we go.
If you're in the United States, we'll send you a gi patch. Post it on our Facebook page, but then also send us a message, tell us who you are and your address or whatever, and we'll get you out a gi patch.
Yeah, we'll keep your address private. We're not going to post it to the whole world to see, but we do need to be able to send it to you. It's not like a digital gi patch.
That's the only reason we're asking.
But so I'm in like a Oprah Winfrey style mode right now, Gary. We'll give you a gi patch if you want to tell us if you're the first person to comment of where you've trained. How about if you buy Scott dinner, we're going to give you a little gi patch there for the send us a picture of you and Scott hanging out at dinner, whatever, training. And if you're the first one to do that, send a gi patch your way, my friends.
Man, Byron, you're giving out some gi patches.
Oprah Winfrey style. One more way to give out a gi patch, Gary. If you want to give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher Radio or wherever you listen to podcasts, we really appreciate that. Send us a link or send us a note, I guess, in our email address, bjjbrick@gmail.com, and let us know you wrote a review. And if you want to make it funny, we really appreciate that. We haven't had a funny review for a little while. I should go check because probably somebody wrote one 2 days ago, and I feel like a jerk for not mentioning it. But send us an email so we know that you wrote this review, and we'll be happy to send you out a gi patch if you live in the U.S. So,
and we'll probably even share it on the air too. So,
yeah,
it's your 2 minutes of fame.
There we go. Giving out gi patches, my friends. Next week's show, we have Jennifer Perez. This will be like our third part in our Traveler series. You have to go way back in time, travel back in time to our interview with the original BJJ Globetrotter. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. And then we've got Scott Balor here, and then Jennifer Perez will be the third one. And just people who have a passion for travel and a passion for jiu-jitsu, much like Scott. He gave you lots of advice about traveling and what to how to approach the gym. So does Jennifer, and some of the questions may be a little similar, but the answers are different. And not, nobody's wrong, nobody's right. Everybody finds their own style, like jiu-jitsu. It's not wrong to do a triangle instead of an armbar. It's your style. You do what you want to do. You travel how you travel. And Jennifer traveled a little differently. Excited to share her story with you and learn from her. So that's coming up next week.
Yeah, that's just it's making me want to go out and travel and do jiu-jitsu.
It's good because people travel a lot. It's coming up on Christmas here, and a lot of times people will travel for Christmas. And if you do that, you're going to see your family in a different city. If you can get away and do some jiu-jitsu, it'll probably be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So. Speaking of Christmas, do you think Santa trains?
I would think so, yeah. I mean, it's tough because
everybody.
Well, yeah. I mean, but the elves aren't much of a role. It reminds me when Gary goes to the kids' class. Yeah, Gary at the kids' class is kind of like Santa with the elves. It's
yeah, I kind of have my way.
Santa's a little overconfident, I think, because he does. He gets psyched on those elves and he can squeeze out some toys. I don't know. I'll probably delete that one, Gary. That sounded way worse than I thought it was going to be.
I thought that was good.
Okay. Man. Okay. Hey. Gary, you mentioned earlier that you had a technique like a wet salmon. What did you say?
Wet salmon. That was a technique. That was my nickname.
Your nickname. Well, last week we missed you last week, buddy. I'm sorry. We got together, we recorded a nice, episode, introduction and exit, for an interview, about the rollout jiu-jitsu and it was just full of static. And this week we're talking and it's perfectly clear. So we can't figure out what the problem is because it seems to be random. So anyway.
I think it could have been the wiretapping. You know how the federal government was wiretapping us? I think that could be it.
Shh, Gary, be careful, man.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, they're on to us, man. Remember about the meeting place.
Yep. Okay. Cool.
Yep. Red Dog in.
Yep, Roger.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. Back to the wet salmon. So we missed out on Gary's ebook last week, but so Gary every week he's determined to come up with another ebook, and he's really more. he doesn't even know what the title is a lot of times until it's presented to him, or any times. But he's really inspired by writing ebooks, and he's yet to finish one, but one of these days he's just going to get an ebook completed. So this week, Gary, your ebook is called Wet Salmon, Escapes That Work Even on Bears.
Man, now this is a tough one. This is a very tough one. Because you got to think about, first of all, how strong bears are. And why are bears so strong, Byron?
Because they eat salmon.
It's their tendon and joint strengths.
Oh, okay.
And what do salmon have?
Fish oil.
Fish oil.
Oh, man.
Which contributes to the tendon and joint strengths and brain activity. You know, they're smart. They know where to find the salmon. So in all reality, as long as a bear eats one salmon and gets some fish oil in him, I almost have no chance. So what I have to do as a salmon, bears are used to fish swimming downstream. What I'm going to do is I'm going to swim upstream. And that's going to confuse the bear, and he's not going to know what to do. Hence, the bear won't then be able to eat any fish and get fish oil. His brain is going to go, he's not going to know what he's doing, and his joints are going to hurt very badly. So he won't even be able to get up out of his cave when he's hibernating. Game over.
Game over. Gary, does this book have any use for people, or is it just mainly help fish out?
Oh, it has nothing to do with people.
Oh, so your primary target audience is not just fish, but salmon?
Well, guys who would like to become a salmon. And I mean, there's a few of them.
Yeah. Well, we all know that guy.
Yeah.
But I'm struggling to picture you having a successful market here, Gary. But I'm going to wish you luck on this book. Very small population of people who both want to become salmon and want to learn a little self-defense here. If a bear gets a salmon in a bear hug, what's the best option?
You know, it's the secretions. The bear is not going to get a hold of the salmon on there. And, I mean, I hear you saying that I don't think I have a good chance to make a good book. But hey, Byron, who is going to stop us?
That's true. I'm not doubting the quality of your book. I'm just doubting the market for the book.
Okay.
But, who's going to stop you? You know what?
Yep.
I'm sure the bears would like to, but they can't do it. They don't even have interwebs.
I've confused them.
Yeah. If you get an email from a bear, Gary, I'd be a little worried, but you shouldn't.
I hope not.
Yeah. They have very little political or legal power.
Yep.
It's kind of a shame, but anyway.
Well, they do have legal power in some states because they're endangered.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have tripped down this stream.
We have way got off topic.
As we typically do with your ebooks, but I'm sure the ebook will have a lot of jiu-jitsu stuff in there.
Yeah. Yep.
But I'd like to invite you guys to come train with us. You know, Scott, if you're in the Wichita, Kansas area, send us an email at bjjbrick@gmail.com, or any other listener who's not named Scott. You're also welcome to train, whether you live here in town or, across the county, or you're traveling in from out of state or out of a different country. Send us an email if you're in the area. We'll be happy to get some mat time with you and exchange knowledge. Gary might even sweat on you.
I promise I won't. I'll towel off first.
Oh, he's so nice. Well, as always, we'll see you next week, and stay sweaty, my friends.
And don't forget to shower and towel off.
There you go. Don't forget to bring a towel.
Thank you for listening. I hope you find the time today to roll. After all, the best way to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
All right.
Are you ready, man?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, my friends, I'm happy to bring... I said Bing. See, I'm already editing up our interview.